Hey everyone, Major Arcana Month continues today with the Tower. Grab your note-taking material, let's dive right in. So firstly, we see a tower being hit by lightning that kind of looks like an arrow. We have a crown being knocked off the tower. We've got all these little glowing dots and some people falling to their doom. What does it mean? So firstly, remember that the tarot is metaphorical. So these are not literal people falling to the rocks below. The lightning bolt is a symbol of sudden inspiration, sudden clarity. We can see that it's dark. So it's this kind of like energy of an epiphany, just realizing that things aren't right. It can also be rapid change, like think a thunder lightning storm. It can also be divine intervention. Now, this sudden flash of light or clarity, we can see it lights the tower on fire. The crown is knocked off. We've seen the crown being knocked off before. We saw it in the death card with the king on his belly with the crown knocked off. The only figure in the death card who completely succumbs to the figure of death on the horse. So the crown represents, again, the part of the ego that's wanting to control our lives. Because this was the crown topping on the tower symbolizes the illusions that ego has put upon us to keep us safe. So usually safe also means stuck. So we've actually been in this place where we think this is the best place to be, but we've been blocking blessings, we've been blocking change. And so usually the tower, even though it is fast, it is rapid with the energy of the lightning, even though it's humbling with our ego kind of getting knocked over, and it is something that we want to be freed from if we are indeed to continue on our journey of evolution, to be our authentic selves, and to welcome in blessings. And in fact, this situation is not without blessings. Whenever you see those little dots in the tarot, those are symbolic of blessings. So even if this is chaotic or painful or challenging, this is a tower with a rotten foundation that needs to be brought down. This tower will never stand. It cannot keep standing. So even if it's uncomfortable, it is liberating. The fires are also the fires of transformation. Fire is known as the great transformer. Nothing that goes into fire comes out the same. And that isn't actually the same of all of the other elements. We're breathing air all the time, so it keeps us alive. And it does transform things, but not with the speed of fire. Water would, could be detrimental if it was really hot or really cold, but if you put your hand in water, usually your hand stays the same. Anything that goes into fire is transformed, whether wood becomes fire and becomes heat, or if it cooks our food, or if it cleans our water, or alternatively, if it causes damage. But fire is the great transformer. So there is great transformation happening here quickly because of whatever this insight is. I always say when I teach the tower that in my experience, there are two towers. There's the tower where we have that lightning bolt of like truth, of realization, where you're just like, oh my God, like I cannot continue either like doing XYZ. I cannot continue this habit. I cannot continue this job. I cannot continue thinking this way. It is this sense of just that knowing, that lightning bolt. If you act on the lightning bolt, then really we can actually bring the tower down ourselves. We can let go of ego's grip of needing to be right. It has to be this way. It has to be our way. I refuse to change. Ego does not like change, remember, and ego does play an important role in our lives. It's not to entirely discredit or do away with ego. Rather, ego is not really meant to be the boss. So even if our ego is like grumpy or struggling with whatever changes we have to make, they are liberating us and they're for our own good. These little people being ejected from the tower are the voices of ego that wanted to maintain the tower. So think about voices of fear, of doubt, of shame, of illusions, things that just because other people said them, you assume they were true. A lot of the tarot is about discovering what's actually true for us, not just what we've been told. Now, that brings us to the second tower in the tower. The second tower is if we ignore the lightning bolt, we ignore that realization, we ignore it, then usually it's a message that whatever you want to call it, the universe or your higher self or something comes to play to cause some chaos so that you are forced out of this way of thinking or the situation. My advice always with the tower is be open to the lightning bolt yourself so that you can burn it down and ideally work with the tower in a way that's actually empowering. Again, with the tower, there is a message of chaos. So sometimes when it shows up, you might feel like you don't have any control. Like it might feel like there's all this chaos around you. This is never to negate the difficulties of those times or to undermine pain or challenges, but it's just to remember that if the tower is showing up, the following card is the star. So this is removing the illusions, the blocks, the untruths that are keeping you stuck in a place that is not actually in alignment with your truest self. And it's usually rooted in egos wanting to be right or to not have to change, to resist that which is actually good for us. So it can be a difficult card. I don't want to dress that down, but it doesn't have to be as difficult, I think, as some people perceive it to be. In fact, I know a lot of people who read tarot for a number of years who, when they see the Tower, they know to look for that lightning bolt. They know that it's a moment for liberation. They know to follow the guidance. And then, forewarned is forearmed. You can listen to that lightning bolt and make the changes in a way that, again, it feels empowering. Okay, my friends? So when the Tower comes up, it's sudden change, rapid change, could be chaotic, but it's also illumination, blasts of truth and realizations and epiphanies that are going to set you free. Okay, my friends, thank you for being here. I already said the next card is a star, so stay tuned for that.